Right, hello. Another week on the run. Somebody did comment at the end of last week. Got your name, but thanks for putting a comment saying basically the music and stuff on the intro is too loud. So I tried to dull it down for this. Let me know if it's sort of matched, so you're not going from really loud to quiet when I start talking. Yeah, so this is week commencing Monday the 12th of July 2021, of course. But that was yesterday. Today is Tuesday. I just didn't work yesterday. I woke up, just felt a bit tired and couldn't be bothered really. So I just kind of decided to have a day off because I wasn't really feeling it. Did all right last week. Had stuff to do at home anyway, so I thought, I'll have a day off. Still not 100%. I'm going to sound like a whinger here, but I don't think I've still 100% recovered from whatever I had a few weeks ago. I started to feel better, and then every now and then I start to feel worse. Kind of wondering about this long COVID thing, but get to that stage now, but probably just imagine it. But yeah, definitely not fully myself anyway. So yeah, started this morning. Well, before I crack on, fuel prices, isn't it? You can tell I'm not really with it. So UK fuels, this is the Shell one, 106.4 rate. So I've not used it now for a couple of weeks. Just gonna have to stop this for a sec. Yeah, someone was walking past. I get a bit self-conscious doing this. Anyway, yeah, so UK Fuels 106.4 rate. I haven't used it for a few weeks, but what I've noticed with UK Fuels is I don't use it and then they realise they ring me or whatever and then they knock it down. I use it for a couple of weeks because it's really competitive and they do the usual thing, start to raise it, but then I stop using it. It normally takes like 3 or 4 weeks before they realise to stop using it. So they just keep banging it up each week. But anyway, so I'm not using the Shell card for UK Fuels. I'm using the BWOC or Block one, which this week is 105.36. That's one I'm going to use. With the VAT, that's 126.43 pence a litre, which is still like 8 and 10 pence of a litre off branded fuel, which is what I use, and still a fair bit cheaper in the supermarkets generally, I think. Anyway, yeah. So this morning started looking for jobs about 20 past 9. Got a job just after 10. The feed didn't seem that busy really for that time in the morning. It's a Tuesday, I think Monday, Tuesday are pretty quiet. I'll come on to that now. It was a job going over to Peterborough, picking up WV10. I seem to pick up a lot from there recently. So like north of Wolverhampton, just south of the M54. And it was a company that makes and supplies cable trunking and like the galvanized metal stuff, cable trays and that. And all it was 2 lengths of that. It was like kind of like a ladder style, so it was a bit more than your standard trunking cable tray. It looked like 2 ladders kind of thing, galvanized trays. That was supposed to be picking up from their depot there and taking it to their one in Peterborough. But when I was on the way on the M6, the guy rings me and said they'd contacted him saying, could I take it straight to somewhere else? It looks going straight to site where whoever had ordered it in St Ives, which is where I am now, but not St Ives. I think there's a St Ives in the southwest, like Cornwall, not that one. Another one by Cambridge and Huntingdon. Very nice. That's where I am now. I'm right next to the river here. This is the River Great Ouse. You kind of see around there, got the boats and stuff. It's a navigable river and the town's over that way. Yeah, I just thought I'd film it here rather than my bulkhead. So yeah, tipped that, delivered it to a place that makes bricks and blocks, a company called Marshalls. I'll mention who it was this time, just to their general stores, obviously for their maintenance team. So I think they actually manufacture blocks there and stuff, and it's like basically an RDC for bricks, blocks and paving slabs and all that lot. Lots of trucks coming in and out. Fairly simple tip. And that tipped that probably like 20 past 1, and that's the only job I've done all day. So originally I paid £102 for 102 miles to Peterborough, and he said to me, because I was about the same distance, are you okay with that, when he rang me to change it? And I was like, well, I can't really say no, can I? So I said yeah, and it was 106 miles, so it's slightly longer, but he put another 8 quid on it, so it's 110 quid for 6 miles, and there's like 12 miles to pick it up. So yeah, I thought that's the right job to get going. I thought I'd be alright down here, but yeah, just quiet. Have been job pinging up in the afternoon. but nothing I was that close to, and a lot of jobs picking up in the morning. If I could take one picking up at like 8, 9 in the morning, I've pretty much, you know, cemented in just earning 110 for the day. So I left it till late in the afternoon, bid on a few jobs, but nothing really I was like hopeful of getting, because they're quite far from them. They're just like speculative ones really. I didn't get anything, so yeah, sat in a van until gone 5. I reached around town, had some chips. That's it. But yeah, it's pretty quiet today, and it seemed quiet this morning. Definitely picking up the CX, but it's quite erratic, I'd say. Very up and down. I noticed last week, Monday, Tuesday were pretty quiet jobs wise, pinging up. Monday, Tuesday, but I seem to do okay anyway. Got the rubber degree and had a good week last week. And later in the week it was actually quite busy, so I'm hoping that's going to be the case today. Also hoping you're not going to have loads of wind noise. But anyway, that is Tuesday, my first day of the week done. Right, Wednesday afternoon now. It's actually getting on about 9:30. Had quite a chilled evening. Much better day today after yesterday being a bit of a shocker. Just over £100 yesterday, one job, as I mentioned. So yeah, this morning I thought I've got to get up pretty early, so I started looking for jobs sort of like 7ish, because I'm trying to make up for yesterday. Got a job fairly early. I got it probably just before 8 or something. And I was at a loading place. I was 40 minutes from it. I was in St Ives, and the pickup is in St Neots. It's 16 miles. I think it was like 35, 40 minutes, something like that to get there. So yeah, I was loaded like 8:30 or something. I got there at 8:30. A bit of a wait because they were still making it, because apparently they changed the order. It was what was it? I think it was a short wheelbase job. It was down as they quoted it basically £1 a mile, I think, or something like that. Loaded, but I was quite far from me. It worked out about 85p a mile all in. Bit surprised to get it, but then it's early, slightly earlier stores, so maybe, you know, less competition. And it was going to ST14, so I thought it's probably going to go to JCB, and it was, but I just thought the stuff I've actually been alright going to JCB personally. And I just wanted to get going after spending all yesterday afternoon just sat around, so yeah, get some early runs on the board. Picked it up. Said it was 1 pallet in the description. And I turned up and he's waiting for it, and he comes out with just a bag, carrying a bag with 2 hoses in it, and that was it. So he said, I think it's a big van with just these in it. So yeah, they could have got on a small van quite easily, or even a car. Straightforward drive up to Utoxeter. Got tipped. It's JCB Heavy Products. Been to that site once before, I think. The last time I had to go in and get tipped, you know, waiting for a forklift. This time I just took the goods with me to the gatehouse and said, this is it, mate, this is all I've got. And he goes, all right, cool. He signed for it, and I just had left it in like a big plastic crate they've got outside for like parcel deliveries and stuff. So yeah, I thought I'll make sure he knows it's, you know, just hand stuff, don't need a forklift or anything. So yeah, that was a really quick tip, like 5 minutes. Parked up there. And this one was like closer to Utoxeter, so it's just off the A50, I think it is. So it's not too bad there, because you can get to Stoke-on-Trent quite easy, you can get to Derby quite easy. But I ate my sandwich, and a job pinged up Buxton, and you know, anything that comes up in the Peak District, not Lake District, they were getting mixed up. Very few people are going to go for it. It was picking up, this is a medium wheelbase job, picking up in Buxton, 1 box, it said in the description, then picking up in Willenhall, which is by Wolverhampton, 1 pallet, and then down to Letchworth, which is where I am now. So I had quite a nice drive, got that anyway. Priced at over £1 a mile loaded, but it worked out like 85p a mile, slightly over for me including getting there, because I had like 50-minute drive to get there. Partly because I was quite far from it, and partly because just, you know, country roads and stuff. But yeah, beautiful drive up to Buxton and back down, out of the, in and out of the peaks. Beautiful scenery, and quite a nice day today where I was picking up. And yeah, only problem with this one, I was quite a weight at the first one, even though it was 4 boxes it turned out to be, but the shipper just didn't give me much of a clue, no order number or anything like that. And it turns out we were going in, or I was going in on his behalf, and he was going in on behalf of another shipping company. And I think the shipping company that I was told we're going in on behalf of eventually wasn't who's the you know, the first shipper. So I think it was like 4th Surrey down. Anyway, I rang him, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, and I'll send it over on WhatsApp." But kind of thinking, why didn't you just put that in the job details? Because all I had was the address and nothing. Same at the second drop. So I asked him again, some details, loaded pretty quick. A bit of traffic on the M6 through Birmingham, pretty standard really. And then down here to Letchworth, so yeah, I got tipped about 6. So that job was looking at the timings then, because I don't always get it 100%, but I do like to, you know, update the job status as I go and keep it bang on. And that way I can look back. So this job, I was on a job 6¼ hours, and it was 168 quid, so it's just over £25 an hour while I was on the job, including getting to the pickup, which is what I try and do as a minimum. If you get a job right, it can be more closer to £40 on some jobs, but minimum is like 25 for me. That's what I try and do. Obviously try and keep busy, but keep the rate up as well, pence per mile. That's kind of how I work it. Yeah, so I tipped down here at 6ish, been to Chinese. Bad decision, went for the omelette and chips. The chips weren't great, weren't proper chips. And I was looking and thinking, I really need a shower, getting a bit stinky. Could have, you know, baby wiped it in the back of the van, baby wipe shower, but fancied a proper shower. Not far from the A1M, checking out the services, and yeah, Letchworth is one here, an extra one. So I've had a shower in the services, and I thought I got here about 8ish, and I thought, you know, this time of night it's truck parked up, you know, loads of trucks bagged up for the night. I thought probably going to be a queue for the showers, but no, straight in. There's 3 showers, and only one of them was in use when I got here. So yeah, quick shower. Obviously, don't hog it for too long. Can try and get another early night tonight. So I've kind of made up a bit for yesterday. So it was 110 and 168 today. So that's 278. Yeah, so I've kind of like made up a bit for yesterday, but I'm still behind schedule, earnings wise, or takings I should say. Earnings is after all deductions, isn't it? Yeah, so that is Wednesday done. Right, Thursday evening now, about 6:30. My 3rd day on the run, of course. Yeah, where to start? So I've done 3 jobs today so far, and I'm just waiting to pick up my first one. Can't pick it up. My 4th one can't pick it up until 7. Yeah, so this morning, where the hell was I? Anyway, I told you yesterday. A job pinged up from Sandy. So I was looking for jobs about 7. I don't think I got my first job until just before 9. I couldn't pick it up till 9:30 anyway. Picking up from a place called Sandy, said something about machine parts. Going over to Halesowen in the West Midlands. It's 105 miles. Quoted 107 quid. Got it. That was like 15 miles away, so it's 107 for 120 miles on the job. Yeah, really straightforward pickup and delivery. Really handy because it was just like 1 box and 1 long item, which is, you know, just handballable. So it's like 2, you know, minutes pickup, and really light. And then I got to Halesowen. Feed was quite busy initially when I got there, but then it kind of went quiet around lunchtime. That's kind of like, then you start to see most of the jobs picking up, coming a lot of them for picking up in the morning, with it being midweek. So it took me a while to get my next job. probably like 2 hours. There's a job on there, the usual shipper that does a lot for JCB, and it was going to ST10, so I thought it was most likely going to be JCB. It was only a few miles from me. I didn't initially go for it, but I've been waiting a while. It was 45 miles loaded, long wheelbase. And I went in 80 quid thinking that's a bit rich. I'll be very unlikely to get that. And then he reposted it again, so it was obviously like too much. So I went in again at 75 quid because didn't really want to go there, but it's kind of like make them an offer I can't refuse. They rang me up and says, "Can I do it for 65?" And I said, "Well, no, I quoted 65." And he says, "Could you do it for 70?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I'll do it for 70." So it's like just under 50 miles for 70 quid. ST10 isn't too far from Stoke. As I keep saying, JCB's been alright for me. Turn up to the pickup, and it was just free sort of, I think there were seat cushions for, you know, one of the excavators or something. 3 packs of them, just like wrapped in plastic, just, you know, handballable onto the van. 2-minute pickup again. Straightforward up to there, Stoke, ST10 I say. And it was like the one the other day, I didn't have to go in and get forked off. So I just pulled up by the cabin and they took them off me, did the paperwork, and that was a 5-10 minute most tip. So that worked out quite well. So that's about 4 o'clock. Yeah, there were jobs pinging up, bid on a few, didn't get them. And then there's a job on there for a long wheelbase van picking up in Burton-on-Trent, which is kind of where I am now, on the outskirts of it, going to Northampton. It's picking up 7 tonight and not dropping off till tomorrow morning at 10:30. But it's only 75 miles loaded, so I went in at 115, thinking if I get it, because it's odd timings, if I get that I can do it, go home with the extra miles going on home tonight, go in there, and it's still going to work out okay money. It's just a slightly late tip, but I'll do that because, you know, I'm not doing great this week, just need to keep getting money in. So they rang me up to give me it, says I'll send it over right now, and I was like, "Whoa, hang on," because what I started doing now, overnight jobs, is asking what is it, because something to be wary of. Goods in transit insurance, it only covers you, most of the time it'll say only covers you like between the hours of 10 at night and like 6 in the morning when you're in the van, with the van, accompanied goods, otherwise it doesn't count. Definitely said that on my first policy I had, but I've changed policy. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I need to read up on it, what this policy is. But I'm pretty sure most of them say that. So I was like, what are the goods? Because if it's high value, if it's like electronics, I'm not going to leave it in the van overnight, just on the off chance it gets broken into and, you know, tens of thousands of pounds worth of gear goes missing and I'll be uninsured. So they said they don't know. I says, well, I can't say I'm going to do it unless I know what it is, and also what weight is it? Is it pallets? How many pallets? And she said, I'll have to phone the customer then and get back to you. She didn't get back to me, but then it was reposted, the same job, exact same job, but this time it's a small van job. Yeah. So I left it 10 minutes, still on there, so I bid the same again, 115, and got it. She rang me up and said that was actually just a COVID sample, so no trouble there. So I'm doing that job now, but while I was waiting, so this was kind of my third job, I bid on another job, a local job in Stoke, East Stoke, so I was east of Stoke, and this was like East Stoke, 2.8 miles loaded, long wheelbase. I bid on it and got it. He just sent it through. And then the job notes, it's different, it was weird. It said 1 pickup, 1 drop, like on the points of a job. But then in the notes it said all collections to be brought back to a depot at another Stoke postcode. So it kind of worked out, it was 2 pickups and 1 drop, but that's not how it was put on. So I rang him and says, oh yeah, obviously it's 2 collections and 1 drop. And I was like, I didn't say it to him, but you know, it's not obvious. They put it on as 1 collection, 1 drop officially on the system. So either they just listed it poorly, or more likely it was just pulling a bit of a fast one. But it was like 20 to 5, didn't have to pick this up till 7. So I thought, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it anyway, because it's still only going to be... I spoke to him and he said, how many miles from last drop to the depot? And he says, oh, it's only a couple of miles. Cracked on, did it, 2 drops. Collection seems to be for a parcel network. Thought great, weren't too bad in the end. Like each collection was maybe 5-10 minutes tops. Then when I put the postcode in for their depot, like a small logistics company, obviously do collections and maybe deliveries for parcel networks, it was 5.5 miles, not 2 miles, and it was Newcastle upon Lyme, which is like northwest Stoke, so I had to cross Stoke 20 minutes. I was a bit peed off, to be honest, but I just cracked on, did it, got it done. The tip was really quick, 10 minutes really, just max, maybe 15 doing the paperwork, and I still had ample time to get here. Got here in still half an hour, so it worked out alright in the end, time wise. But in terms of mileage, it wasn't great, because I was was going to be like 10 miles and then add an extra, probably like extra 18 miles really. It turned out to be more like 28 miles, maybe 30 miles for 40 quid, so it's still not the end of the world. But anyway, that's a long spiel for today's story. Waiting at this pickup. I got the lady's phone number, but it's one of these ones, another great job instructions. It's got her name, it's got the town, it's got the street name, but it doesn't have a house name or number, so I'm gonna have to give her a ring. I hope I can pick it up a bit earlier, go home. My brother, who I live with, I'm a lodger in the West Mids, he's cooking, so I'm hungry now, so I'll have a proper home cooked meal when I get home, and full home facilities, so shower and stuff. Late start in the morning, get that one off, and then try and make my money for the week, but it's kind of touch and go at the minute. Right, late Friday afternoon now, just got home after doing some shopping on the way home for the weekend. Yeah, what can I say about today? Went and did that tip, Northampton, obviously the one I collected yesterday, the COVID sample. Did say don't deliver it till 10:30, so I got there like 10 o'clock, and I had to phone the garage anyway to book the van in for a bit of work, so I did that, took the opportunity, didn't bother trying to deliver it early. I think I could have done. Anyway, tipped that, parked around the corner about 11 o'clock. The feed was fairly busy then, been on a few jobs, and I didn't want to, I was at Northampton, you know, it's kind of like East Midlands, didn't really want to go too far out the area, being a Friday, so I thought I'd try and stay localish, because by that time it's like 11 o'clock. I thought maybe I'll go like to the northwest, because it's normally quite well getting back. So it was either stay in the Midlands or go to the northwest, I was kind of thinking. Job pinged up 5 miles from me, or 4.5 miles. Small van job. It was alcohol, 300 kilograms, going to sort of southeast Birmingham area, just east of the M42. Can't remember the name of the town, but it's near like Henley and Arden and stuff. It's like the real posh part of the West Midlands. It's quite affluent area. That's where a lot of posh people who big, well-paid jobs in Birmingham live in that area and commute in, I think. Yeah, so picked it up and delivered it to this restaurant this one turned out to be, which is good because there's no kegs of beer, it was all just bottles and stuff, cases. The bad thing about this job is I got there about 10 past 11, and it said, you know, get there ASAP basically, to get there between 20 to 11 and 20 past or something. So I got there 10 past, you know, told them who I was, blah blah blah, get through security. They told me which bay to reverse up to, and I thought, oh great, because I'd realised I'd been there before. I remember last time I had a bit of a wait, so they put me on a bay straight away, bay 5, reverse up there, and then the guy comes out and goes, oh, it's going to be 20 minutes mate. I thought, right, great, even if it's 20 minutes, that's half an hour, it's not the end of the world. It took me 1 hour and 40 minutes to get loaded. They actually told me to come off the bay because somebody else had turned up from the same courier company I was there for to collect one that was ready, so I had to get off the bay. He went on. It took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to get loaded. I think that's probably my longest loading time ever, so maybe I've done well. So 30 minutes included, so it's like an extra hour and a quarter, but I just said I'll charge you an hour, which is 20 quid, so I got an extra 20 quid on the job. I was already quoted 60 and it's going to be 50 miles all in. So in the end it worked out alright. Really good pence per mile was, because it was 50 miles and I got 80 quid for it. But it took me all in from getting a job to getting it done, probably the best part of more than that. It's part of, well, about 3.5 hours anyway. Yeah, 4 hours maybe. So it didn't really work out pounds per mile, pounds per hour wise. Yeah, that put me then sort of that part of Birmingham, outskirts of Birmingham or Warwickshire. And I thought I needed to do another 80 quid, I worked out, to hit my target of averaging 220 a day, because I had such a shocking day on my first day of the week on Tuesday. In the end I ended up doing just one job, 40 quid job. It was a medium wheelbase. I was 15 miles from it and it was 9 miles loaded, so 25 miles, call it 40 quid. Turned out when it came through, it was picking up like yesterday, parcel collection. I thought, great, this one was going to DPD in Aldridge. Part of the reason I went for it, Aldridge is only like 5 miles from home. So anyway, I went and picked it up. That was pretty straightforward. It's like an artworks place, quite an interesting one this. 47 packages, really, you know, long and flat, big things. And it was, you know, artwork. Apparently this company, they've got art galleries all over the country, and this is their like central depot / warehouse. So all the stuff from there goes out when they do prints, goes out to the galleries, and they also do the mail order from here as well, which is what I was obviously taking to DPD. Chatting to the guy, real nice guy, young chap. So, you know, I had to ask him the question, how much are these things worth? And he goes, oh, well, most of them are like up to, you know, £500 range, but there'll be a few in here probably that are 5 to 10 grand worth. They're like limited number prints of like quite well-known artists, I think. Not that I've got a clue about that kind of stuff. Not arty at all. Yeah, gets me thinking. I'm on my new goods in transit is 50k, but I'm pretty sure it'll be over that. But it's in my notes. What I carry, that's pretty high, I think. 50k. It's a higher end of what people have, so I couldn't do much more about that. Got to the DPD place. There's probably like 4 or 5 vans queuing to get in before me. Arctics moving around the yard around the back of this warehouse. Turns out the conveyor belt in the place had broken down, so it was all absolute chaos. But in the end I was only there half hour. I thought I might be there a lot longer. And I had to unload it, reverse the back of the van up to the Arctic trailer, and there was about 4 or 5 of them. So I passed it to one guy, he put it on the trailer, and then the 4 guys were walking him to the front of the trailer, because the trailer was pretty much empty, and stacking them up nice and neat. Years and years ago I worked in a parcel depot for Yodel, but before it was called Yodel, it was called Business Express. And I used to work nights unloading trailers and sorting them into routes. And when the trailers used to come for us, it was just obviously all just thrown in there, but these guys were actually stacking it properly. I was quite impressed. Anyway, yeah, so that was the day. I've not made my target 220 for the week, like I said, but I've not properly worked out. That'll be in a summary, but I'm pretty sure all miles have been over £1 a mile, so that is that's the consolation, and that is the last update on the run. Right, weekly update time, or weekly summary should I say. Pretty late now, it's like 8:30 on a Sunday, so it probably won't bother putting it up tonight. I'll probably put it up tomorrow sometime. Bit late this week, being back in North Wales, seeing my kids and the family and that, so yeah. Anyway, so like I said, I didn't work the Monday. I had that off because I couldn't be bothered when I woke up. Didn't feel particularly great. Felt fine by the end of the week, so whatever that bug was, definitely shake that off now. So yeah, but Tuesday was a shocker day. One job, £110. Worst day I've probably had since probably like when it was really quiet, January, February, March, with the lockdown and stuff. And then Tuesday, 2 jobs, 110 and 168, which is 278, which is a pretty good day. And then Wednesday, Thursday, the last job on the Wednesday kind of spilled over into Thursday, and I didn't tip till 10:30, so I kind of consider Wednesday and Thursday 2 days together. So across that I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs, 4 jobs on the Wednesday, 2 jobs, well I should say actually, so 6 jobs in total, 107, 70, 40, 115, 80 and 40, which comes to 452 for them 2 days. So yeah, that's over 220 a day, so kind of on target for them days. But even though I was over target for the last 3 days I worked of the week, still didn't make up for Monday because it was quite so shocking. So 4 days at 220 should be 880, but I did 840 for the week, for the 4 days, so that's £210 a day, so about £10 short. The good thing about this week was didn't do many miles, 822 miles, so that's over £1 a mile. That's £1.02 a mile, all miles from leaving a house to getting home. So I did spend 1 night, I should have said at the start, I did spend 1 night at home and then 2 nights in the van. This week, no other costs, unused and non-normal costs, no tolls or anything this week. So my pre-tax, so the 840 plus the VAT bonus I get to keep because I'm on a flat rate scheme, minus my costs, comes to about 580 for a week. Obviously that is pre-income tax and national insurance and stuff because I'm a sole trader, which is £145 a day, which isn't too shabby really. Try and do it 150 really, but it's not too bad. Yeah, so that was a week. So, and the other thing this week, I mentioned it briefly in a video, last weekend, so not this weekend, just gone now, like now weekend, last weekend, I had the van in the garage on the Saturday for its first service, which is due at 25,000 miles. It was actually about 27 by the time I got in there. So I wanted to get it done on a weekend, so I didn't interrupt work. They didn't mention anything about it being over anyway. But I'd already changed the oil once myself, which I changed at about 11,000 miles, just because I'm going to change the oil more frequently than the standard service intervals. I think it's a good thing, because I'm probably going to keep this van 200,000 miles in 3 years. So I'm going to, give it a bit of extra care. Once I'm past the 100,000 miles warranty thing, I'll just do it all myself, or most of it myself, and I'll probably then just change the oil service every 15,000 miles for the oil, and maybe do the filter every third one, so every 45,000 is enough for the fuel filter and stuff. But anyway, yeah, when it was in there, I mentioned before the Adblue light, or the anti-pollution system, which is basically the Adblue system. We call it the Adblue system, but the Adblue is just what the liquid you put it in, isn't it? It's I think the proper word for the system is, what was it, selective catalytic reduction, SCR. So it went in, they read the fault codes. There was one on there again about an oxygen sensor, which is before and after the catalytic converter, which is part of that system. And it's had that replaced before under warranty, or it's had one of them, I think the 2. We don't know which one was replaced because they didn't put good notes on the job last time. They just said replaced a O2 sensor. So anyway, it's good. They clear the faults and said if it comes back up, ring us. And then first day I was on the run this week, Tuesday, it came back on, and it stayed on long enough for me to get limited miles until it wouldn't start. But then the fault cleared, so I'm okay. So I phoned them up, booked it in for not tomorrow Monday, a week on Monday, tomorrow, a week tomorrow. So that's going to be a 4-day week. Last week was a 4-day week, and this week coming is going to be a 4-day week as well, because I've just decided to have tomorrow off because it's absolutely scorching weather at the moment. Really nice. I'm back in North Wales, got my bike, my brother's here, so we're going to go for a bike ride tomorrow. And that is one of the advantages of doing this line of work. We've got a job booked in, fancy day off. Obviously you got to put the hours in, but yeah, just take time off when it's good. Mr. Milkman, Citroen Dispatch, delivering milk to my parents' house. Yes, yeah, so that was a week. As ever, any comments, put them below. Tips on myself or anyone else who watches it, or any suggestions, as ever, please put them below. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that jazz.